Hi, I'm Rudy from The Rudy Rude. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about all the modules I have in this system over there, the Dotcom system, or MU, Moog unit, or a 5-unit, 5U. 8box11 I purchased from synthesizers.com. I find it makes a very pretty case. In this format, it uses 15 volts for the power instead of the 12 volts required for the U-row rack system. This is an overview of all my modules that are in the format of the synthesizer.com. At the bottom, I've got the Q174 and its aid, the Q175. This is a MIDI interface. It is a MIDI to CV, to gate converter. The CV can be the pitch, it can be the pressure, it can be the velocity, it can be many things. With the aid, you get a arpeggio and a portamento. Now, since those two do not convert MIDI clock, so I had to buy a Modular Moon 553. So it's a MIDI to clock converter. It has a divider integrated. Of course, you have the stop and start and the reset in and the next. This is the gate mat. It's a Q173 from synthesizers.com. It's kind of a Swiss knife of clocks. It can generate all kind of odd clocks, drum beats, clock division, clock multiplier, etc. The Modular Moon 511 AC. It's a quad voltage control gate delay. So with a sequence with some gates, you can introduce some rush or late, and it will help creating more swing kind of grooves and many other things. So this is the Modular Moon 569. It has 32 steps, and you can configure it so many ways, like 4x8 or 2x16. There's all kinds of direction. Every row can have its own direction and its voltage range, and you can also clock it to MIDI if you have the MIDI to clock interface. And it has an aid here, which is a quad lag expander. So on each row you can introduce a lag or portamento, and on each of the row you can also choose if this lag is on the pitch that rises or the pitch that fall, or both. This is the Q167 from synthesizers.com. This is a 3. Actually, I really like this LFO. It's the LFO++. It's very versatile LFO. It can be also used as a oscillator. And this is the quantizer bank with it quantizer aid. So let's say you have a signal that is not quantized, it doesn't produce any tempered notes or chromatic. This is the module that will create that kind of thing. So there is 4 quantizer, but that one here is programmable, so you can have all kinds of scales. Beside it, there's the slew limiter. This is like a portamento. It will introduce lagging between two voltage that are, let's say you have a voltage of 1 volt and then it switched to 3 volts. This will introduce a lag time between the 2 voltage variation. Next to it is the Q181 from synthesizer.com. I'm gonna say that word a lot because this contains a lot of synthesizers.com module. This is the controller interface. It is like a modulation wheel, if you will. So when you press on it, it will change voltage, but also it will create gates. So it's a very versatile little thing. A bit like Onde Martenot controllers. And the controller interface for the ribbon. If you look at my previous videos, I have one that specializes on the Q182, the ribbon controller, and its module, the controller interface. Okay, continuing the second row. I got 4 rows in this system. I have the FX low pass gate, the model Q103. It's a good old low pass gate with a very screamy and dirty resonance. As any low pass gate, you can choose to have only a filter, a VCA, or both. Okay, next to it, I have a pair here of Q107. This is the state variable filter from synthesizers.com. It's a very versatile filter, very moogie to my taste. It's very creamy. I love it. You can drive it pretty hard before it starts distortioning. It's a kind of a clean filter. Okay, in the middle here, the Q150. This is a kind of a replica of the old Moog 24 dB slope. What was it called? The 904. But Roger did something very interesting, is that when you bring in the resonance, we don't lose so much low end, so it doesn't sound that moogie in this area. I contacted the Mos-Lab from France, not sure where he is, because he makes pretty much very good replicas of those Moog. So this is a replica of the 904A, a control voltage low pass filter. So it has exactly the same type of controllers, like the frequency range it has only 3 settings. The regeneration, which is like the Q or the resonance, you know, when you put it on, it will remove a bit of the low end, actually a lot. And this is the control voltage. Beside it, there's the Mos-Lab 921. It's a replica of the famous Moog 921 oscillator. This oscillator is complex in a way that you don't need a driver for it. There is a pulse width that they call a rectangular width, so it's pretty much the same layout. Moog 121, of course 3 input for the voltage control. We have a trio of Q106, so I got 1, 2, 3 plus the last one. It has its own Q141, an oscillator aid. It will add a volume out and a subsync in and a wave selector. This is the Core Synth, an Odyssey of Sound VCO. It's a replica of the ARP Odyssey oscillator. It actually produces more waveform than the Odyssey because it can produce a sine wave, a triangle, a ramp, or sawtooth, the square. Oh, and RM for ring modulator. So there is a ring modulator input. Where is it? Yeah, it's here. And there's a soft sync, or I think here. Well, there's a lot of stuff in there. Beside it, there's the FSFX Supra resonator, which is a port of the famous mutable instruments rings. Because you have a lot of real estate, it's really nice. Continuing with the FSFX Ornament and Crime. It's a port of the Ornament and Crime, and it's kind of a Swiss knife of voltage control. So you get a quantizer in it, you get LFOs, and it's all in 4. It's, sequencers, all kinds of functions, Euclidean rhythm, is there a clock divider in there or something? Well, I know it's a Polyvox filter. It's a very dirty, screamy filter. Dirty, screamy filter. Even written in Russian. Okay, next to it is the signal processor. This is very handy little utility modules from synthesizers.com. I use this a lot, use my ribbon to offset the voltage of the ribbon so it can go into a quantizer. The Modular Moon 525 is just a bank of reversible attenuator, so it can attenuate the sound, or it can attenuate the voltage control, or it can also reverse the voltage. You have here the noise, it's a noise generator, the Q110 from synthesizers.com, with its 3 outputs, the white, the pink, and the low frequency. And the Q148, it's a VCA++, so it's a normal VCA plus a panning module, so you can put the control voltage to pan your stuff. It's also a tuner plus a headphone amplifier. Here's a duo of regular Q108 VCA, voltage control amplifier. It's good for audio signal as well as voltage signal. A very important module is a Q112 from synthesizers.com. It's a 4-channel mixer, so the 3 first inputs have their own attenuator, and the 4th one does not have it. Another very handy module is the C107 from Core Synth. It's a quad VCA and VC mixer. So it's a mixer, can be used as a mixer for voltage control, as well as a mixer for VCAs, which is very handy. The Q113 is a 8-channel mixer. It's fun to mix sometimes a bunch of stuff. I can also use it as a mixer for a stereo source. If I have many stereo sources, I mix the volumes of them, and I will have 2 outputs, independent outputs. So it's an 8-input mixer. Only 6 of them have their own attenuator. The inputs 4 and 8 are not attenuated. I have a pair here of synthetic Sound Labs 1235. It's a envelope VCA combo that saves a bunch of space. It can auto repeat. It can change as LFO as well. Next to it is another synthetic Sound Labs. It's the VC-ADSR. It's a 1230. It's a good old ADSR envelope generator, but each segment has its CV in. It's a bit like the Q179. It's a beefed up envelope generator, so it can do the old ADSR. It can make LFOs. It can make sequencer. It's a very versatile little thing. Okay, here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got 5 envelope generators, and they're from synthesizers.com. It's the Q109. It's pretty much your basic envelope generator with attack, decay, sustain, release. I have 5 of them. I like mini envelopes. They're fun, especially if you make multi-timbral patches. And at the end, I bought this Frequency Central System X ADSR. It's a very good ADSR, very snappy. This one you can output negative or positive. Top row, last row is the Q127 with its aid, the Q140. It's your good old fixed filter bank, very Mogi module. This is a Oakley sound system. It's a phaser called Deep Equinox. When you plug a synth in there, it's instant Jean-Michel Jarre. Beside it, there's from the same company, Oakley sound system. It's an overdrive, very good distortion module. Beside it, it's a C105 from Core Synth. I think it's a Portuguese company. It's a VC noise lo-fi machine, so it's basically a bit crusher. It's also a distortion. Also, it's a noise generator. You can output a noise. A weird module from Synthetic Sound Labs is the Scat Talker. I'm not sure, I think it's a speak and spell in there or something. I have to check that for real. But it's a speech synthesizer module. It will generate words or funny, quirky, twerpy thingy. The Q130 from synthesizers.com is a good clipper, or rectifier, so if you need to dirty some sound, this is the module you want to use. The Q115 is a spring reverb. The spring tank I put at the back of the machine, far away from it to avoid the RF noise. C103 from Core Synth is a frequency divider or multiplier, so this can... The Q147 is a distributor. That's kind of a reverse mixer. Next to it, the Q117 is a sample and hold. So any frequency that comes in will be sampled and hold and output. 102 from FX is a granular audio processor. So this is a port of the famous clouds from Mutable Instruments. It's a granular synthesizer, as well as a reverb, as well as a delay, and also a sampler and a granular processor. Again, from FX, a Hable resonator. This is a 3-headed resonator filter. They claim it is the same as you find in the old Polymoog. There is a 3 variable kind of choose the nature of the filters. You can use them as 3 low pass, 3 band pass, 3 notch pass, and 3 high pass. Beside it is the 109 from FX. It's the toe pipe phaser. This is the nastiest phaser ever. It will destroy speakers. I'm gonna have to do just a demonstration with just this one so you can hear how deep it goes and massive. At the end of the whole chain, I put the Q111, the Q111. It's a VC panner. It's a voltage control panner. So it's good that it's at the end. So you have your 2 inputs, your 2 outputs, and you can pan your stuff. It's also a fader. You could fade from input 1 to input 2 with a voltage control.